How are we doing? I am hoping that everybody has been adjusting well. You're following your meal plans, you're getting the results, you're um, taking in all your accountability measurements, and you're placing them where they're supposed to be placed. So welcome to today's video. Welcome to yet another video in the series Losing Belly Fat. So today we are going to examine in depth the role of nutrition in losing belly fat. This chapter delves very deep into that nutrition as a cornerstone for achieving a flatter tummy. It's a word that every woman wants to hear, my flat tummy. We start by discussing the fundamentals of calories and macronutrients, providing readers and you, the listener, with a comprehensive understanding of these essential concepts. Understanding the role of calories and macronutrients in weight loss. So what are calories? Calories are units of energy provided by food. The fundamental principle of weight loss is that you must consume fewer calories than your body expends or uses to create a calorie deficit. In the previous video, I touched a little bit on calorie deficit. And if you're kind of gray on what really that is, don't worry, we're going to look into it. This deficit prompts your body to tap into its energy reserves in the body, which is basically the body fat, to make up the difference, ultimately leading to weight loss, including the loss of your belly fat. Okay, you remember correctly now that we talked about in the last video that spot reduction or just focusing or targeting fat loss in one specific area is really not scientifically proven. So we have to remember that loss of fat in the body is quite systemic, meaning it has to follow how the body leads it. It has to go the way the body just leads it. Some people will lose their belly fat faster than they lose their chest. Others will lose their face way before they can start losing their hips. So you have to really go back and see what is your original genetic makeup before you started gaining all the excess weight and fat. Be realistic, because that is going to be the number one eye-opener to what your results are going to be looking like. Are you not able to go to achieve a flat belly? Oh yes, you will. But the distance between here and where the flat belly comes in is going to be determined by your genetics and how your discipline is going to be exerted throughout the process. Setting those expectations right now forms the basis of your success. So calorie deficit is that where, for example, if your body needs 2,000 calories to fully function optimally, like with no lags and all that kind of slowing down, you have to consume at least probably 700. You will need, in a week, you will need at least 3,500 calories to lose 1 kg. So 3,500, which means divide that by 7. How many calories you will need to lose in each day? Don't worry about all the sciences. When we do our one-on-one call with you, because you need to book your one-on-one call with me. So if you haven't booked your one-on-one call with me, you need to go back and book your one-on-one call with me so that we can set the basics of how you need to determine what is your safest calorie deficit level. Please do not ignore this, because this can come to your detriment and can harm you more than you think it can do good to you. So generally, micronutrients are essential components of our meals, and they provide the body with the necessary energy, building blocks, and functional molecules it needs to function fully and best at a balance. A well-balanced diet or a well-balanced meal should include all the 3 macronutrients, that's carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Let's delve into the unique roles and functions of these macronutrients in the body. So carbohydrates, for example, when we talk of carbohydrates, we're talking about your bread, we're talking about, when we talk of carbohydrates, we're talking about your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, your cassava, your green bananas, ripe bananas as well. They have a lot of carbohydrates. We're talking about your rice, your chapati, your pita bread, your tortillas, your And for the specific purposes of weight loss, you will realize that I am going to categorize legumes, beans, and all the classes of the green grams, the lentils, as part of carbohydrates. They have a higher content of carbohydrates than they have in protein. Shock? We will talk about that in details. So they are the energy sources. Carbohydrates provide the body as a primary source of energy. When you're not moving well and you're eating okay and you're eating enough, it means your body is not fully processing the energy. When consumed, they are broken down into glucose. So every carbohydrate that you eat, no matter what it is, your body is going to turn it into sugar. In layman's language, what they call the glucose. This is used to fuel various bodily functions and activities. It's brain fuel. Primarily, it's the fuel that the body uses for its brain. Brain relies heavily on glucose for energy. Consuming adequate carbohydrates ensures optimal cognitive function. Digestive health. Dietary fiber. So they provide that fiber, a type of carbohydrate that promotes the healthy digestion and prevents constipation. It helps a clean digestion. It helps the fecal matter or all the waste products not to lag in the digestive system longer. When you have your poop, let me use that word, staying in your digestive system for too long, it is toxic. It's going to increase the perforation of your intestinal walls. And what that does eventually is it's going to open all the pores that allow movement of particles from your bloodstream to the digestive system so big that they will start allowing bigger particles that are toxic and chemicals inside your bloodstream. And that may cause things like leaky gut, a poor microbiome in your gut system. It may cause all these imbalanced blood pH, and then it's going to cause systemic inflammation. In a previous video, we've talked about what is really inflammation. Go back to the video that was talking about the types of fat in the body, and you will be able to understand what is this inflammation. So when the toxin materials are staying too much in the gut, then they are also leading to a systemic inflammation state in the body. This digestive fiber is also good. It increases the feeling of fullness. So focusing more on fibrous carbohydrates, which are your green vegetables, your peppers, your bell peppers, your kale, your spinach, is much more effective than focusing on the less fibrous carbohydrates, which can aid in weight management. And that's where we now come in and start planning your plate and how you need to properly structure your meals. And you say, I have been eating healthy all my life, but I don't seem to lose weight because of the sugar aspect and the fibrous carbohydrates that are not balanced or not eating them correctly. So proteins are basically for building your muscle and repairing your muscle. Proteins are crucial for growth, maintenance, and repairing all your tissues, including muscles. So when you're in physical activity, you need protein and your strength training and you're walking, your protein needs to be sufficient because it's going to build those muscles. So if you're losing weight and your muscle is not sufficient, or you're losing your you're losing your muscle other than your fat, then you need to replenish with protein. And that's why we want to plan your meals in a way that we are not losing muscle, but we are losing the fat only. Excuse me. So in losing belly fat or weight loss in general, protein help you to protect the lean body mass, preventing malnutrition. Malnutrition is where your body mass get deficit, like you lose it. Enzymes and hormones come from proteins. Proteins are involved in the production of these enzymes and hormones and other regulatory molecules that control various physiological processes in the body. Sex hormones, digestive hormones. Like there are so many hormones in the body, and they are all coming from the molecules of the protein. They are also involved in immune function. Many components of the immune system, such as the antibodies and the immune cells, are made up of proteins. So proteins are extremely important in the body. Taking in excess doesn't help at the end of the day as well. Because if you're taking too much excess, then the kidneys will take in a lot of pressure in trying to eliminate the excess of it. So creating a balance Because sometimes when we find that something is really good, we want to overdo it. And excess doesn't mean it's going to help you in any way. It might cause damage. So moderation and sticking to what your body needs is the best option. The other bigger molecule in the body, in the food, which is the other micronutrient, is fat. And sometimes we may say your body doesn't need fat, you can eliminate fat because you're trying to lose fat. We don't do that. Because intake of fat that is fresh, that is healthy fat, it's going to improve your cardiovascular health. It's going to help so many ways in the body. And we'll be able to discuss some of those specifics even in our calls. But basically, fat is for energy storage. So energy is stored in the body. If you're eating in a way that the body doesn't think that it's going to get an enough supply, then the body is going to store it. Fats are the body's most concentrated energy source. Excess energy from other macronutrients is converted into fat for storage and later use. So when you eat excess of carbohydrates, eventually they will be converted into fat. Insulin is a hormone that is useful to converting the excess glucose into fat for the storage. Cell structure. Fats are vital components of your cell membranes, helping to maintain their integrity and their function. Vitamin absorption. We have vitamins in the body. If you know, my name is ADEK, Adek. And if you did not know, that is that's the names of the fat soluble vitamins. Like these are the vitamins that will need fat to be able to be absorbed in the body. So if you're not consuming enough fat in your meals, then you will be deficient of vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K, which are extremely important in the body. Required dietary absorption. So they require dietary fat to be absorbed. These vitamins are essential in the body. Your eyes, they need your vitamin A. Your immune system need your vitamin D and your E. And your blood will need high, good functioning vitamin K. Insulation and protection is the work of fats. The adipose tissue under your skin, it constitutes of fat. So if you don't have even a little bit of it, then that's going to, you're going to be feeling cold. So you need just a good amount. When it becomes extra and excess, that's when the problem comes in. So we also have fat that is circulating, that is around the essential organs in the body. It helps to regulate their temperature. It helps to protect them and cushion them from damage. In excess, doesn't help. So let's let me take a minute here and just reiterate the aspect of the caloric deficit again. So caloric deficit, remember, it's the concept of eating less of the calories than your body needs to use at this particular time in your life. It is a key concept in losing belly fat. To achieve a caloric deficit, you need to consume fewer calories than you burn through your daily activities and your exercise. This deficit is what drives your body to use stored fat for fuel. It's essential to create a moderate calorie deficit for safe and sustainable fat loss. Extreme calorie restriction can lead to muscle loss and other health issues. So let's delve a little bit into a detail of what some of these foods look like that we need to avoid if we are trying to lose belly fat. So number one, we need to eliminate completely highly processed snacks and food. Processed food like chips, cookies, sugary cereals typically are high in unhealthy fats, added sugars, and they have empty calories. These foods offer very little nutritional value and can lead to weight gain, particularly in the abdominal area. Processed snacks and foods often lack satiety. They do not make you full, which means you will likely consume more calories and more often in the day than you would have consumed otherwise. You need to eliminate sugar and sugar-added beverages. Sugary beverages like sodas, fruit juices, energy drinks. Stop juicing and eat the whole fruit if you have to. When you're working for weight loss and you're eating your fruit, you need to be able to combine your fruit with your green vegetables. That way, I need you to picture your mind, because this is an area that I think I will do a whole video just on this, because it's just been so much on the internet. When you're eating fruits, I want you to remember this analogy. When you're watering your plants and you decide to use a cup to pour the water into your vase, where your plant soil is, and it's open to air. And then another scenario where you want to water your plant, but instead you take a little plastic bottle and you make a little tiny hole, and that hole is where the water will be dripping directly into the plant. When you're eating fruits, and especially high sugared fruits, what we call high glycemic fruits, on their own, without vegetables or fibrous fruits and vegetables, it's like watering your plant in the cup with a cup and exposing it to direct sunlight. But when you eat combined vegetables and high sugared fruits together, for example, in a green smoothie, and not all smoothies are green smoothie, then you're using the bottle system. You're releasing sugar at the right amount as it is needed in the body, because the fiber controls at what speed and what consumption of the sugar is going into the bloodstream. You want to be able to allow a limited amounts of sugar to flow into the bloodstream. Simple sugars, when they go into the bloodstream, they cause spikes into the blood glucose in the blood, hence causing spikes in insulin. And remember, we said insulin is the hormone that is responsible for conversion of sugar into fat. So you have this constant conversion of the sugar into fat. Eventually, we also create what we talked about in previous videos called insulin resistance. Refined carbohydrates, highly processed carbohydrates, food made from highly refined carbohydrates like white bread, white rice, and pasta that is just not whole grains, that has been highly processed. And let me say something about wheat. So a lot of wheat products today are not the pure wheat that we do. I don't want to say that you will never eat wheat again, but in your initial stages of losing weight, you need to consider how much wheat you're eating, if not at least trying to do away with wheat for a while. I've seen in my own personal experience, I've seen it in the people that I've worked with. When you consume a lot of wheat products, it holds your weight down. So you need to be careful and watch how your body works, and let's work through this when we are planning our meals in the one-on-one sections. Consuming this refined carbohydrates, the pastas that have no fiber and nutrients stripped away during processing, they cause a quick rise in blood sugar levels, and they can lead to insulin spike, like I was saying. The body may store excess energy as fat, and this can contribute to abdominal fat accumulation and slowed progress. Added sugars, I've said that, like, you don't need it. You just don't need it. Highly, like, we have the industry using sugar for every single thing it's processing. Sugars will just give you empty calories. They will increase and spike your insulin levels. Moreover, excess sugar intake is associated with accumulation of the visceral fat that we talked about. And remember, sugar is addictive. If you're used to eating sugar, you want something sweet all the time. It's really, really, really addictive. And remember, what we talked about in the introduction video, that if anything is putting you into its bondage, then it has you. You do not have it. If you can say, I cannot survive without this, then you're in bondage. Do you want to give your life over to something else? I don't think so. All right, let's see what foods we need to embrace. We need to embrace whole grains. Whole grains, quinoa, brown rice, legumes, beans, peas, green grams. They're richer in fiber, vitamins, and minerals. They provide sustained energy, help regulate blood sugar levels, and contribute to feelings of fullness. This makes them an excellent choice for those looking to reduce belly fat. Lean proteins, you need to focus on white chicken, white meat, fish. Legumes are not going to be classified as part of proteins under this program and in this phase of losing weight. And we shall discuss that more in a different video. And these lean proteins are vital for building and repairing your muscles, your tissues, and just reducing the intake of calories at rest than carbohydrates. So increasing your muscle mass can support a higher metabolic rate. Proteins also promote fullness and reduce the overall calorie intake. So the reason why, so when you look at the calories that are produced by a carbohydrate and a protein, they're the same amount of calories. The difference in these two is the spikes in insulin, because protein does not turn to glucose eventually. It may be converted eventually into a fat in a different mechanism, but it will not come in as glucose. So it doesn't spike your insulin. It doesn't lead to insulin resistance. So it increases your fullness and it stabilizes your blood sugars. So it on an overall basis, it controls your weight and prohibits the piling of that fat around the belly. So fiber-rich fruits and vegetables, fruits and vegetables, apples, broccoli, beans, low calories, but not high in volume. They make them perfect choices for us who are trying to lose our belly fat. They help promote fullness and satiety, reducing overall calorie intake. Additionally, fiber supports digestive health and helps prevent overeating. Fiber is also good food for a good bacteria. So you're able to diversify what we call the microbiome. It's kind of a fancy word that we are all using just for good bacteria. Because the more you have the diverse good bacteria and numbers in your system, the better for your gut. They prevent overeating. Note that consuming very high sugar foods will slow down your progress. It is important to consume high sugar foods with green leafy vegetables, specifically in a green smoothie. This slows down the production of the glucose and slows down insulin production. So we will definitely delve deep into meal planning, and especially in a discussion, so that I can hear all your questions. I can see where you're coming from, because different people eat different in different cultures, and I want to make that personal for you. But I hope this video was helpful to kind of understand how is my nutrition vital for my weight loss or my belly loss, my fat belly loss, sorry. So thank you for joining me, and looking forward to meeting you in the next and in our discussions and one-on-one meetings. Thank you so much. God bless you, and see you in the next. Bye-bye.